shape of Hogwarts and what I could fill it with from there. It was a lot of rethinking and like a little personal challenge to see if I could make it look like Hogwarts and make the rooms actually work. But I loved doing this. It was so much fun to make a working Hogwarts. There's toilets, there's like tea and stuff. I did have to think about whether I was doing like strict these classrooms or this, or this building is actually in this area and I'm moving it to the second building. So I mean, I was watching the first 3 films at the same time, so I was watching those on repeat and doing this at the same time and just going back and forth, and I have to say I really loved it, and it was so much fun to do. I loved like having to do the challenge of put this here and put this there, and does this fit, does that work, can a sim walk by, you know. So it's a lot of like little inner arguments for myself to do, and then to go back and be like, actually I'm not loving this here. So I have to figure out if I actually love the design, if it fits with the story of Hogwarts, and then if it looks good, I guess. I do really wanna like add Moaning Myrtle to the building, but then it's a case of, will that work? Can I like get a ghost on the lot that isn't like a residence house, because it's a public building, it's a museum, so can I get a ghost to live there? I've covered like decoration with lights and so on, but there's no actual like living areas that you can live in. But there are like chairs and there's a bathroom, but there's no bath apart from the I don't know, is it a river? A giant river that Hogwarts sits on? Because when I went to put that in, or is it a lake? Either way, it's huge, massive water. I'm not sure how close it is to the sea. But I just figured, because I was doing the bridge, and that's where on the blueprints the water cuts between the 2 buildings. I've sectioned it into 2 different sides. So the bigger area, which is what I'm designing here, and then you have the smaller area which has like the Great Hall in, and which would have, I think, the dungeons underneath. It was challenging, only because I'm making this whole building a mini size to what it really is. So getting the like shape of the building was so awkward, because I had like the turrets and the entrance part, which I don't think is the clock tower. I think the clock tower is attached to the Great Hall area on the other side of the river stream thing. It looks a little awkward because it is a mini version of it, but that's the thing. It was a challenge between, well, I want the building to work, so I'm not gonna have like a ton of empty space if I don't need it to. I mean, so far the whole building looks like Hogwarts, especially from certain angles. I really love how it's turned out. It's just a case of, is this in the right place of the design of Hogwarts? And I don't know if I'll make a second part of this building. So I've done the bigger area, but I don't know yet if I'll do the second half, which will be the Great Hall and the front of the building. I may even add like Hagrid's little hut, but I need like a hill, so that's another thing. Am I gonna do that? If you enjoyed this, if you think I did a good job, I mean, even if you thought I did a bad job, you could just tell me like, change this here. But I might do a better job with the front half of Hogwarts, because I actually know that a bit better than I do with this larger section of it. So I figured I'd just be practical about it and try and match up the colours of the greenhouse. Obviously it's made out of glass, but I felt like the transparent glass roofing in Sims just wasn't gonna cut it for me. So I added like I added tiling to the roof, and with things like the large tower that's sort of to the side of the bridge, it's got tons and tons and tons of like little windows on it, and I really couldn't add all of those onto it. I thought that my game was gonna crash, so I just simplified it because I was making a mini version of it and just added a few on it, so 2 or 3 on either side, just so that when you're at certain angles it looks like it should. After that I just like copied and pasted one of the large towers onto the other side, and I was really proud of it. It looked really good. There's just like a few things that were out of place from there, but then it was a case of, okay, so I've got the greenhouse and I can put like maybe some food and stuff inside it, but what do I do with the rest of the building? So that's where I went back to the bridge and added the water to go underneath. In this case it's a pool because there's no other way. I did consider doing just tiling, but then I thought it kind of needs the water, and it is quite fun to watch the Sims just go swimming in this pool next to Hogwarts. It did take me a moment or two to realise that I started making the original bridge that's for the front of Hogwarts, so I went back and I changed that to the stone one that, you know, Ron and Hermione and Harry never seem to use in the films, so I had to double check the design of that one, and I did the little path away from the balcony, which Harry does, I think Harry does use that on his way to the owlery to see Hedwig, but it's only for a minute when he's like trying to ask Cho out. Is it Cho? I can never remember how to say her name because we only see her for like one film. I do keep thinking that I should actually go and read the books, so sorry to any die-hard Harry Potter fans out there. I've never read them. I'm dyslexic, so I don't really like reading, but watching the films was a great way of me just being immersed in this whole magical world between the wizards and our reality. You know, it gives you that question of, wait, this looks pretty real, like, is there like some wizards hanging about, or are we just all muggles? So yeah, I'm really glad that they made those films as I was growing up, because it was just like that little hint of mystery going on. I also added a little balcony to the 2 taller towers at the back, just because I couldn't figure out how the Sims would get to that other room without a staircase being put into the I think it was a Ravenclaw I put underneath it, and I didn't want to ruin that because I wanted to have all 4 of the houses to have their own little space and about the same size. So I figured I'd just add a little cute balcony across the 2, and then it keeps the space for the other house, as well as then just looking, you know, a little aesthetic added in. So I just figured that'd be better than ruining Ravenclaw's space. I've also put Hufflepuff, sorry. That's right? Ravenclaw blue, Hufflepuff yellow. Yes? If that's wrong, please tell me. And I'll change it. As I was going through the rooms, I did really try and find like something I could do with the owlery. Obviously there's no pets in Animal Crossing unless you buy the pet extension. But I wasn't feeling that just for the one-time thing. So I put a staircase in as well because I didn't want to miss the other side of the building, that I'd had this extra room again and I still didn't know what to do with it, but I figured that would be a good way to just get up into it because it goes with the design of the owlery. There's not a lot of pictures of it online, but in the back you've got, you know, Harry at the windowsill. I tried to add some balcony type of decoration and it was not going to work. It just looked really awkward, and because it's not that high up in the design, it just made it weird that there was just this balcony and there's the floor right there. But then I added these little archway things and they look really cute, so I have no regrets on that. But it was a case of in the photo there is a bird bath, so I was really happy to get that. And then of course with the stairs I figured I would add the mirror of Aris, the mirror of Aris. I'm sure you can tell me as well. Oh, that reminds me, I have questions, okay, because I was watching these films. I was watching the films while I was doing this. I have a bunch of questions, okay, so if there are any die-hard Harry Potter fans, you can answer these questions for me, because oh my gosh, when I was watching Harry Potter, oh my gosh, I think it's only from the first 3 films, mainly the third one, Prisoner of Azkaban. It was specifically where I was finding extra questions that I hadn't thought about before. Just like the mirror, you can tell me in the comments, you can tell me what the answers are. My first question is, when Lupin is teaching the class, what? Because when Lupin is teaching the class and he's got the boggart there, all of them are pushing, and it's like, you know, when you don't want to do something in class, they're all pushing each other to like, you go first, you know. And of course half of Slytherin move to the back of it and push everybody forward. But that just made me wonder, because we had like, what, 5 people go up to the boggart and see something, and you know, I can't remember the spells. But yeah, I was just wondering, because obviously all the Slytherin go right to the back of the queue. When Harry goes up and would have seen Voldemort but then saw the Dementor, and Lupin's like, no. If Harry had been like near to the back or gone last, what would Draco have seen if he had stood in front of the boggart? I hope I'm saying that right. Boggart. It's a boggart, right? But what would Draco have seen? What would have been his deepest fear? Would it have been Voldemort because he kind of knew that his dad was a Death Eater? Would it have been his dad because he's always putting all this pressure on him, as many pure-blood families do? Or would it have been something else? Would it have been a creature? Because we all know that Draco is scared of everything. What would Draco have seen? A monster? Would Draco have seen Voldemort? Like when we saw the first film, Voldemort was, you know, having some unicorn. Would Draco have seen that? Because it's not like he's Ron and he would have seen the giant spider like we saw in the film. What would Draco have seen? That's one of my questions. I'm very curious to know. Another question, this is also for Prisoner of Azkaban. Oh, this is a good question. Okay, these questions, by the way, are specifically for the films. When I was watching Prisoner of Azkaban, like a few weeks ago now, What is sat on Professor Trigormi's chair? Is it Trigormi? See, this is the thing. When you say it out loud, it doesn't sound right. So even if I am saying it right now, I can't hear you. You have to tell me. But what is sat on her chair? This is specifically when, you know, Hermione is, you know, oh, this is baloney here about being able to see the future and stuff. And it took me so long to figure out that she doesn't like the world of, you know, psychics and stuff because she doesn't believe it's real, whereas, you know, with mandrakes, dealing with dragons, love potions, she knows that you can put science to it. Yeah, when Harry and Ron are in Professor Trigormi's class and they're falling asleep at the future ball, the mind-reading one, crystal ball, when Ron and Harry are falling asleep at the crystal ball and they're like that and she comes over and Hermione just pops out of nowhere. In the background, behind Professor Trigormi, just like on her chair, there's something there, and maybe I need to watch some deleted scenes or behind the scenes, but there's something on her chair and I have no idea what creature it is. It's got a tail that flips up. I've written, is it a snake or a turtle? Because its head like moves on the chair, or its hand. But then a tail, a furry like tail pops up and then it quickly goes over to Hermione saying, oh, perhaps it's the Grim taking the mickey out of her. But you get like 2 seconds of seeing this creature. It's, I can't figure out what it is. It's driving me nuts. So back to the build. I've gone over like the entranceway and I've put in like the staircase and photos because I figured I don't really know what to do with that room. And then I've tried to put a classroom in because that side of the building is where the classrooms mainly are. Then I've gone upstairs and I've just added a art classroom sort of thing. So like with lots of windows everywhere, and then with, what's it called, with easels so that the Sims can paint, because I noticed that one of the rules for making a museum is to add easels so they can paint on it and actually interact with the build. Then I tried to do a classroom like lots of different classrooms, so it's really hard to like put something in unless you're going to do a whole build for it. And at the time when I was designing this, I had no idea what to do with this room, so I went back and forth to that one. Then I started to focus on Hufflepuff's common room, and I mean, it's kind of nice to go with a whole like different feel. You know, you've got all the yellows, and I noticed they've got like greens. It would have been really nice in the films if you were able to look at all the different common rooms. So like if Harry's talking to like different people and they're from different houses, maybe we could have seen them like follow that character and find something out from a different house. Because obviously we know Gryffindor, we know Slytherin's, you know, common room, but then it's like Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff are kind of missed out. So you know, kind of like I kind of had like free range to do this room. I mean, obviously you have the house colour, yellow for Hufflepuff. I hope I'm getting that right. I'm pretty sure I'm getting that right because I had to Google to try and find a single image of these house common rooms. But then I remembered a specific element of this room, that they have like barrels, like greenery around, so I figured I'd add some of that in. I also wanted to add like an activity for the Sims to do if they're like hanging about, so I put in like some games in the 2 different common rooms. I did add a TV for like 2 minutes and I was like, I don't really want the Sims coming to a museum to watch TV, so I think I'll leave that out and make it a bit more like educational. So yeah, so I really loved adding the giant barrels. I wanted to do like a secret door entrance as well, which I did manage to do with the bookcase and made like the entrance hall, like a bit of a bookcase area where you can sit and read or look at the photos. But yeah, I think I did a pretty good job considering that we haven't actually seen a visual of what it should look like, unless of course you've read the books, and I have not, so I just had to go off one image and rumours that I'd heard about the barrels as decoration. Then I went on to move the classroom to the empty tower room that basically turned into a walkway because there's literally nothing you can do in that upstairs room. I couldn't think of anything, and there's not enough space. Like I said before, if you're trying to make the whole of Hogwarts, you need to have the space to actually do the activities, so that's why I've made it into a mini version. But then, as I was watching Prisoner of Azkaban, I realised all the details I missed from Professor Trigormi's room. For a start, her classroom. I missed out so many details, and then I figured, hey, she's got a staircase. Oh, all the teachers have staircases or different rooms for their office. I should make her office. So then I went and I made her office. This is just off the top of my head of what I would think her office could look like. I'm still not completely happy with it, because if I knew her better, I'd add more stuff in. But yeah, I added like tea. I was so happy to watch the film and see all the teacups, but obviously I can't make that, so it hurts. But I did fix up her classroom a bit more and put like a little teapot into her room, so at least then like Sims can come and they can be like, I want a cup of tea, and they can go to her room. I did notice as well, a lot of the random Sims that walk around into her classroom, they immediately pick up a book or start chatting, so they actually use her room the most. And then I think I did put a fridge in the greenhouse because it wasn't getting like any use. People walking into it and just stood there and then walked out. But I figured that Professor Trigormi's office would be like a chill, you know, spiritual, you know, curtains on the wall like her classroom, and you know, little cases of like cups and stuff, and like a bit of colour splashed here and there. So I had fun with that. I'm still curious what sat on her chair. I want to know so bad. Yeah, and then I went on to make Ravenclaw's room, which was a little bit easier because it has this like, from what I've seen, it's kind of like a mixture between like Greek and stars, obviously blue everywhere. But to make these common rooms the way I want them, I'd need like so much extra stuff, and Sims just does not have everything, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, I think I did a pretty good job. I put columns in just to add that little bit of detail in where I could, and again I added a game for them to do stuff in, and they actually came in and they had like a little dance to the music and stuff. So some of these rooms are being used, the toilet being used the most it seems, but some of them are being used, and the mirror got used by a random Sim. I have a few more questions, and I think I will be watching the rest of the movies just to catch up on my spells. But overall, I think this was a really good build. I had fun with it. It was nice to be creative in a new way, to challenge myself with a story that I've known since I've been growing up, and to try and fit it all into a small build. Yeah, if I had my way, I'd do like so many like extra details and change the designs of the wallpaper and stuff, and I need more stuff to make it perfect. Yeah, I have a few more questions, and obviously I kind of want to make the front of Hogwarts, so if you do like this, let me know. If you've got the answers to my questions or know how to pronounce the words correctly, please like type it out how you say it. I think that's called phonetically. I'm not sure. If I'm wrong about that, you can say too. But I have more questions, and I also kind of want to make the front of Hogwarts now, and possibly even Hagrid's hut on its own maybe. That could be quite fun. I could make it to a bar or something. So let me know, write a comment, and I really hope you enjoyed this because I had fun making it. Let me know if you got the answer to my questions. Let me know if you're interested in me making the front of Hogwarts with the Great Hall and the dungeons and Slytherin and Gryffindor. I hope you enjoyed this. Yeah, I have more questions, so I'm gonna rewatch the films and write down more questions for you to tell me, because if you're a true fan, I'm sure you'll be able to give me the answers, and I might even start reading the books because I've never done that before. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you later. Bye.